Hello everyone and welcome to the NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the 14th of June 2021. It's Gary Gillen here and I'm your host again for this week's edition, and I hope you're all doing fantastically well and enjoying seeing one Rangers player in action at Euro 2020 thus far, and I think thus far it has only been the one in Glenn Kamara that we've managed to see live, with Borna Barisic missing out on the England game through an injury, which was a little bit of a worry because no one really had expected that, and Philippe Hollander not starting the Sweden game against Spain today. So if I'm wrong and there's been other players there from a Rangers perspective, please accept my apologies. Many of the games have been on in the background here while I'm working, so I might have missed something material in terms of appearances, but I don't think so. And also, I don't think Alfredo Morelos even got on the pitch last night in Colombia's opening win against Ecuador as well. So from a kind of selfish perspective, I'd like to think less playing time they get, the less chance they have of getting injured and the more chance they have of being fresh when they come back for pre-season training. But it's also less opportunity for them to be in the shop window if that materially matters to the club, and I'm fairly sure it does. I know as fans we're all keen to keep our best players, but there are economics at play that also factor in. So we'll see how that plays out, obviously, of course, over the rest of the summer. But the early part of these tournaments is always terrific, with multiple games in the one day, and with me working from home for another 3 months or so, having worked at home since March 2020, it's great to have a sport on in the background that I like or love, and is a semi-welcome distraction from the daily grinds of work. But you didn't tune in to hear about my work. Onto the RTV part. I know I have been saying this for quite a wee while now, but from an RTV perspective, we are almost there now for season 2020-2021. RTV finally got back to us today with the final piece of information that we need for one of our clubs to hopefully clear up a bit of a discrepancy issue that we had, and we will get that information off to them and then get ourselves organised to be able to figure out the best way to get RTV paid for the services that they provided us last season. So again, thank you once again to everyone who paid, and for the folks who reached out with notification of the discrepancies and things like that, so that we can get this important part of admin organised before we move on to planning for next season, and more about that just in a wee while here. From a shout-outs perspective, I would like to place on record a bit of a shout out to Scotland's national team for doing their best in today's opener against the Czech Republic. Of course, their best wasn't good enough and they went down to a 2-0 defeat, unfortunately. And as for anyone who's listened to this pod for a wee while now, I've mentioned before that I haven't maintained a huge affinity with the national team over the years, and I think moving to Canada seemed to help compound that or facilitate that a wee bit more as well. And then obviously add in the fact that there has been very limited Scotland representation throughout the Rangers ranks for this past 10 or so years, just compounds that even further again. And I don't even need to get started on Steve Clarke and how I feel about him, because this is mostly a positive podcast and we don't need to go negative unless it's absolutely necessary. But in all seriousness, I definitely don't want the team to fail, but I'm not going to get overly excited either way. I just can't care about them the same way as I do about Rangers. And with all that said, of course, I'm going to just contradict myself and say that I am planning to head down to a pub downtown here in Calgary on Friday afternoon for the Scotland-England game. We have a bunch of friends and family booked a table in the Ship and Anchor pub, and we are going to have some fun when we're down there. I'm really looking forward to just being right in the middle of the action, so looking forward to that. And I'm even taking my son Leo so that he can experience it and maybe get a wee bit more enthused and enamoured with football, because to date he's kind of hit and miss with it. And for anyone from the Scotland squad who's listening to this, and I'm sure there has to be quite a few, just a heads up for whomever happens to be in goal on Friday, stay a wee bit closer to your net, will you? When you're actually supposed to be playing in net, and then you might avoid getting lobbed from 48 yards or whatever it ended up being. Dearie me. From a convention perspective, the update this week is that we did indeed get confirmation of the Planet Hollywood Celebrity Ballroom space allocation. They had missed out on some of the key component parts of the configuration that we needed, the top table, the dance floor, the stage for the band and DJ and things like that. And I'm very happy to tell you that the number remains 1872. And for those that don't know what that means from an 1872 perspective, go and listen to last week's pod. That is literally the number the hotel came up with in terms of the capacity for us to be able to fit guests in. And we also, as a result of that, we were then in a position to conduct our NARSA exclusive sale of 2022 tickets, and that took place from Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time to Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And during the sale we sold around about 250 tickets, which was a good return. But the interesting part of the ticket sale for me was that we had that waiting list that we put into play a couple of weeks ago, just to try and see, as I'd mentioned at the time, how big is our headache here? Is it 1,000 people big? Is it 500? Is it 200? Is it 2,000? And where we sit right now today, as I record this at just about 6:32 p.m. on Monday evening, is that the list sits about 1,600, and about 450 of that roughly had indicated that they were from NARSA clubs, and they were obviously expressing an interest in purchasing tickets. And we ended up selling just a wee bit more than half of that. So I'm now wondering if that's going to, be the same for the general sale. And, we have, I guess, probably about 1,100 people, if you take away the NARSA specific ones, who had expressed an interest. And if we go on an exponential basis of the number that would buy them, maybe that's about 700, 750, something like that. I guess we'll see. But the main information that I wanted to share on that is that we will be going to do our next general sale, and it's going to be happening this Wednesday, the 16th of June at 7 p.m. UK time. That's 7 p.m. UK time this coming Wednesday, the 16th of June. And what is crucially important to know is that we have about 250 tickets left. And as I just mentioned there, about 1,000-ish people who signed up to the expression of interest waiting list. So that means that we could potentially have about 750-ish bears disappointed at missing out. Now, as you know, I have been saying for a number of weeks now that we're going to move heaven and earth at NARSA here to try and get everyone who wants to be there. And I do fear we might not be able to manage that at the end of the day, but it 100% most definitely will not be for the want of trying. So as I see it now, we have a couple of main options open to us, with the assumption that these remaining tickets are going to sell out, and that's the Celebrity Ballroom for the Grand Banquet and a sellout. So the two main options open, there'll be more than two, I dare say, of course, but the two main ones right now is we will continue to investigate a utilisation of the mezzanine in Planet Hollywood, which is just along from the Celebrity Ballroom. It can hold about 500 bears on the Saturday night, and if we get to a spot where we're ready to go on that, then we would get the tickets on sale. But the really important part of this for me and the remainder of the NARSA executive, though, is that we're not going to do this if there's no viable way of appropriately securing the area and having folks dining there feel part of the Grand Banquet on the Saturday night, even though they'll be somewhat remote, by a couple of 100 yards or whatever it's going to be. If we do that, and they don't feel part of it, or if they can hear noise from the casino, they can't hear anything from the Celebrity Ballroom, then it's just a recipe for absolute general dissatisfaction, and we don't want that for any of our guests at any NARSA event at all. So what is important about that is that we will all fit in for the Thursday and Friday nights. It's not the same table setup. It's a reception style setup where there's high top tables, there's bigger tables, and there's just more of a casual feel. People are walking and moving around a lot and that sort of thing. And this is explanation for folks who haven't been to a convention before. It's just the Saturday night that we have the space restriction because of the seating setup and the physical space required to have all of the tables in the room for people to sit down and be able to dine in comfort. So we do have options of the 500 extra spaces, and we'll see whether that where that we go from there. The second option open to us is to call the 3-night convention packages sold out when we actually sell out on Wednesday, and then just move our attentions. Don't get involved with any further meals or any remote areas for people to be forced to sit and dine, and then just go on with sales of Thursday and Friday only packages as well. So we are going to be meeting as a subcommittee when the next batch sells out to determine the best next steps on that one. So please stay tuned. And the main thing I want you to take away from this is that we do have options, which is a great thing. So all that to say, once again, we will be putting the final 250-ish tickets on sale this coming Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time. Please take a note of that time. And we've coincided it not to interfere with any of the Euro 2020 matches. So the Wales and Turkey match will be finished by then, and the evening match will not have taken place. And the process for the sale will be the same as before. You visit narsa.ca/tickets and follow the purchasing process, which is dead easy and dead simple. It will take you a matter of minutes to get to that. And from a planning perspective, from an events planning perspective, we do have a meeting with Las Vegas Loyal local organising committee representatives Drew White and Jimmy Denning from the Las Vegas Loyal this coming Wednesday to start a full lock-in on the planning around the events for the convention and the events that the host club take primary responsibility in managing, and that is the golf, the Davy Cooper Memorial Golf Tournament, the Absent Friends football match, a Friday excursion for people who are not interested in football or golf, entertainment for the duration of the event, the DJ for Thursday, Friday, live band for Saturday, and the Sunday leaving do as well. And with the number of people that we're expecting in Vegas for next year, the Sunday leaving do, I think, is going to have to be split among a couple of different places. I don't imagine we'd be able to fit 2,000 to 3,000 bears in the one place, but you never know. Hey, we've got a long time to plan that, so we'll see how that goes. And as I mentioned before, we do have more hotel rooms available for booking, and in an email that we'll send out to our main distribution list and through our other communications channels as well. Please, if you haven't booked your room already and you're intending to stay at Planet Hollywood, you can get our NARSA preferred rates, and please don't hesitate or don't say I'm going to wait until I get my tickets to get the room, because the room bookings won't be at that rate for quite some time. If not forever, sorry, I should say that they'll only be that. It's only going to be finite that they'll be at that specific rate for your information. So please don't hesitate on that. And one thing we did mention briefly last week was that we were considering getting some dialogue with some travel agents to see if there was anything we could do that would help us, facilitate travel for bears coming specifically from the UK, which is the majority of our clientele for next year. And on that front, we did have a chat with Roseanne Ratta from the Holiday and Flight Centre in Hamilton, Scotland, last week about the potentials and the potential options of teaming up and having a preferred travel partner for NARSA, especially for this one event. I don't know that it's something we would do forever, but you never know. But we're still going to continue conversations with Roseanne and see if that will be of benefit to visiting bears from the UK, and if it makes sense, then we'll definitely explore it further. So more information to come on that as we move forward. And one final plug again for our convention frequently asked questions document. It's on our website on the NARSA convention page. Please go take a peek at that if you have any questions in and around the logistics for the events as they are getting planned as we go forward. From another business perspective, I briefly hinted earlier just when I was talking about RTV, but the main thing we have on the go, once we get this next stage of preliminary planning done for 2022, is we get on with our RTV planning for next season, for season 21-22, which is obviously season 56 for us. And I'm hoping we'll get to take a breather maybe for a week or so, then get our brand new, shiny, out-of-the-box broadcast RTV director, Alan McWatt, completely immersed in what we're doing and what we need to do going forward to set everyone up for success. So for NARSA members and NARSA member clubs, please stay tuned on that one, and we will get closer to solidifying that very important operational commitment to our membership so that we can have everything locked and loaded and ready to go for the pre-season games that will be fast approaching. From a communications perspective, the first thing I wanted to mention from a communications perspective was what I'd also mentioned first last week, and it's the phenomenal response to Rangers' current share issue by the club. And as I mentioned, we did talk about it last week, and the initial exclusive access to their priority period, which is what we're in now, closed on Friday, around about 5 or 6 p.m. Friday, UK time, on Friday past, and the club has gone on record as being overwhelmed by the response, with thousands of fans signing up to express an interest in owning their own little part of Rangers. And I'll be interested, I imagine maybe that's a thing, like with our priority or our intention to purchase NARSA 2022 tickets list that we had, and we had a material difference between the amount of people that said they wanted to go and buy tickets as NARSA representatives and the amount who actually did. I assume that's just part and parcel of business and this type and style of business, and Rangers will see a bit of a drop down on that when it gets to the rubber hitting the road of people providing their payment details for that. But if you didn't make it to the priority period, which is the 7-day thing that opened today, the 7-day exclusive access to procure shares, that is, that opened today, and are still interested in investing, my understanding is that there will be a general sale to have access to the investment upon conclusion of this week's priority period. However, if the shares are indeed all scooped up during the priority period, then I think you're out of luck. But the good news on that front is that you don't have to wait too long to find out what the situation will be, as the priority period is indeed just 7 days, and that would close, I imagine from the email I got today, that would close next Monday morning or maybe Sunday. I have to reread it again. I didn't fully digest it earlier today. So good luck to the club on that, and more positive news about the strength and depth of how Rangers fans just want to help the club by any means necessary as we go forward. Secondly, Rangers last week also announced another associate partnership. It seems that we have an associate partnership every single week these days, and this one is with Fantastic Fanatics Limited. And the club said on the website that the club has been working closely with Fantastic Fanatics to develop Rangers' new branded shopping and rewards platform, Ready to Shop. And Ready to Shop is the name of the platform. Through the partnership with Rangers, supporters can experience an innovative online club-branded shopping mall that sits within the club's website. The Rangers branded platform will contain a number of the leading UK retailers, allowing fans to make everyday purchases and generate commission from those retailers that will go to their club. The platform is free for fans to sign up, and fans can start earning money for their club by registering at the website. The website is club.fanaticsfanatics.com/Rangers. I'll put the article headline, or the article link, in the blurb for this week's podcast, and you can sign in. So a couple of very important parts there. The club are at great pains to continue to say you're supporting your club if you go through this. I don't know about folks, you might be subscribed to similar things online where you get the commission back, and you can, it's a bit of a hub where you can go and access a whole bunch of retailers. I know I'm subscribed to one, maybe two. My girlfriend's subscribed to a few as well. This one is even better because the money goes directly to the club, so that's a great thing. And of course, the second major thing is that it's for leading UK retailers. So I don't know what the experience would be like for North American or overseas bears, but go take a peek and see if it's something you're interested in, or if you're buying gifts for folks back home and you're going to go to that retailer anyway, then you'd be as well doing it through the Ready to Shop platform and getting the club a wee bit of more revenue. And I imagine the more retailers that we use and the more volume of traffic that we have, we might have access to other benefits for the club. They also did say that they were going to be doing some competitions exclusive for Rangers fans and things like that as well. And the last thing on the communication front for this week is just another quick plug for the Rangers Fans Champions Wall that I discussed over the last couple of weeks within a wee bit more depth last week specifically. And just as a reminder, the club did launch a Champions Wall at Ibrox, which is going to be a pictorial homage to Rangers fans in a mosaic style that will be forever commemorative of our world record 55th championship title, with the centrepiece being Mr. Stephen Gerrard with the trophy and the culmination of 55. So again, I'll put the links into that. If you're intending to do this, please don't wait and maybe, you know, run the risk of missing out on that as well. And that's pretty much it from a communications perspective for this week. It's not very often that we have a light week in terms of our great club, but this kind of feels like one of them, and you know what, we take it. You don't have to listen to my voice for too much longer, and then we move on from there. So from an interviews perspective, I know I have mentioned it a couple of times over the last wee while, but we don't have any interviews lined up for this week. I am hopeful to get back on the interviews trail next week if possible. I have a meeting on Wednesday morning my time, which might help facilitate some interviews coming up over the next wee while. I'm being purposefully cryptic just in case it doesn't work out, but hopefully we'll get back on the interview trail as we move forward over the next wee while. And that, my friends, is all we have for this week. So once again, as I say every week, and I genuinely mean it from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for taking the time to listen. Please do share it with anyone that you think might enjoy it. And until next week, take care. All the very best. Cheerio.